Your audience nuts. So I'm going to propose a very minimalistic view of PowerPoint. If you're interested in my views on this, I've actually published them, and I'm going to give you a tiny little snippet, and that snippet has to do with being organized. So here are the 4 points I want to make. See what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Okay, good, great. And there are 4 of them, and those are the 4 points I want to make, and I'm going to tell you right up front what they are. The first is to front load your outline. And here it is, and your argument, which I'm going to do in a minute. And then here are the others. And I don't need to read them out to you because they're right up there. Yeah, and so unless you are with an audience that can't read, you don't need to read them out. So point 1, frontline outlines and arguments. So in my case, since I'm a social scientist, my arguments come in the form of puzzles and answers. So there's the puzzle. Why is it so hard to present class material in an organized manner? And I think the answer has to do with the fact that this requires a great deal of commitment and planning, which many of our colleagues, present company excluded, are not willing to do. In the sense that PowerPoint requires you to state your claims up front and state the structure of your lecture up front. It requires you to think about these things ahead of time, and it requires you to stick to them, even when you would like to deviate. Furthermore, PowerPoint being PowerPoint makes it almost impossible to make nested arguments or branching arguments. You need a pretty linear format. This is great. This is great because it is very hard to listen to a nested or branching argument. So in a way, PowerPoint dumbs lectures. This drives Tufty insane, but it dumbs down lectures in a way that makes them actually quite digestible for students. So that's going to be my argument. I've got 2 minutes left. After slide number 1 comes slide number 2. I have 5 points to make. I'm going to go through them one by one. After point number 1 comes point number 2. After point number 2 comes point number 3. This seems pretty straightforward, and yet most PowerPoint accompanying lectures that I see are nightmares in which the screen is flooded with text, and that text, if it is separated at all, is separated by means of bullets, which are utterly, utterly useless. They are chart junk. They are periods that belong at the end of the sentence and not the beginning of the sentence. Sometimes I think of Victor Borgia, and if any of you know Victor Borgia, I always feel when I see a bullet that I have to pronounce it in some way. I have to go at the beginning of the sentence. Every time there's a bullet, I don't know what they're there. I just don't understand why people put this at the beginning of their sentences. It's deeply, deeply puzzling to me. So numbers allow you a sense of priority. Notice as I switch from point number 3 to point number 4 that the title stays the same. So students know which section I'm in. This has all sorts of benefits. If they're bored, this allows them to zone out of this part of the section, and then they'll zone back in when I get to a part of the section that they're interested in. If they've had a long day, they now know where they are in the lecture and how much longer the lecture is going to be. It allows them to track the logic of the argument in a way. Right. The last point I'd like to make before I summarize is on title number 3. It is part of the garbage culture that accompanies PowerPoint that people have started killing the English language slowly in order to fit it onto PowerPoint slides by eliminating punctuation marks, by shortening sentences, by avoiding various sort of conjectures, additives, adjectives. I don't understand the point of that. I don't get it. There's no reason not to write in full, clear, active voice English sentences on your slides. At the same time, there are important rules, and I can talk about those some other time, about how many words and letters you can put on a PowerPoint slide. This requires planning. You need to think hard about what it is you want to say. So yes, I'm all in favor of clear language that communicates your intentions in a way that is unambiguous. After Roman numeral slide number 3 comes, you guessed it, Roman numeral slide number 4. Actually, no. As a rule, I always use the same slide from the beginning at the end. There is a certain bravura effect to this. I promised I was going to cover these 4 things. Look, I've covered them. In fact, I can use the same table of contents at the beginning and the end. And it now allows me to go through each and every one of those again emphasizing the points I wanted to emphasize. I tried to do that using slightly different language so that you've now heard everything 3 times. You've heard it projected in the beginning. I didn't quite do this here. You've heard it projected in the beginning. Here's what I'm going to argue, the order in which I'm going to argue it, and what each second is going to consist of. Then the actual content in slightly different language, and then a recap at the end in yet again different language to summarize the whole thing. That's all I have to say. 4 minutes.